Welcome to yet another exciting episode of Dada Next Door. So, if you're new here, Dada Next Door is a podcast where we talk about phenomenal women doing phenomenal things in our society today, using their various forms of arts to promote activism. So, with me today here, we normally have a Kenyan phrase where we say when somebody has like multi-talented, we say that you were created on the seventh day when God was resting, Yeah, God had his time on you. So today we are actually joined by one of those lucky people. She's multi-talented. She's a DJ, disc jockey. I just like to say it in full. It looks very professional. She's a DJ. She's a producer. She's an author. She's a poet. And the best part of it all is that she's a lover of fashion. She's a love of art. She's a love of life. Oh my God, I'm so... That's the shortest intro I've ever had. So you can imagine I can put it longer. But anyway, welcome to the show. Habari
Thank
yako?
you. I'm good.
Unaendeleaje?
I'm very good. Just chilling. Today is a good day. So much.
So tell me, how does it feel when you're walking on the streets and people know like you're a DJ? I mean, how does it feel? Unamkanga, how's your Friday? Do you wake up a little bit different?
No, actually, gig days are for me stressful because nikazi naenda, like people forget only because I'm in the entertainment scene and there's a lot of sherehe in it. There's sherehe in it, which it's true, but to some extent me niko job. So when you guys are having fun, me niko job, like I'm very conscious, I'm very aware, I'm very and that's just how my weekends are.
In short, you're just living our lives. Najua me, I would really want to go to work. Yani, my work is to just bamba people, How's been your journey though? How did you start? Actually, you're multi-talented. And I say you're multi-talented because I can tell from your pieces as well that they are very, you can tell when somebody is talented or somebody has knowledge about that.
Yeah.
So I really want to know where it came. It's hard to find an author who's a DJ because those are two
Right.
contradicting hobbies. So tell us about how did it start or just... amuse us.
So with DJing or with just art in general?
Art in general.
Okay. This is a very long story because then we start from primary school.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. It started with singing, funny enough.
So you're even a singer.
I can sing, but I can't say I'm a singer because I've never pursued it before.
Or may I call myself Mariah Carey because I sing in the shower you should see me.
I take it very
live.
seriously. I'm like, just because you can sing, you're
Doesn't
a
mean you're a singer.
but like I haven't pursued it professionally before.
Okay.
So I don't really claim that as an art that I do, but I can sing.
Nice.
In primary school, we just used to sing with my two best friends and it was a thing. And how I knew we were good was one time an older girl, like we think we're in class 2 or class 3, but like a girl from class 6, 7.
That was a big deal.
That was a big deal.
That was such a big deal.
Telling us that we sound good. I'm like, you didn't even have to tell us that. Like class 6s don't even talk to class 2s. So that's when I was like, maybe this is a thing. Maybe I should be conscious of it. And then I used to be, still now, a fan of Alicia Keys. And so my goal was to be like an Alicia Keys. Fast forward into high school, immediately I came into Form 1. The first day I realized, in school we have a piano because there's a music room.
Okay.
And I was like, I want to learn how to play the piano. And I thought if I was to take music class, they were going to teach me how to play an instrument of choice, okay. And my instrument was going to be piano. But then I realized that they don't teach instrument. That's you coming with your own skill. They can brush it up.
Then what is music school?
They teach you the nitty-gritties of it, like how to read music, the sheets, the being in key, the history, but not necessarily teaching you an instrument. Yeah, at least in my school they didn't teach us instruments. So now I had to beg other girls to teach me how to play the piano, and no one had time for me. Also, the time for you to come and practice with the piano was break time and lunchtime, and like a bit after prep was over. So no one really had the time to sit down with me and teach me. So what I decided was like, you're not going to teach me, I'm going to cram. So I used to cram their finger movements, and I used to cram where they start, and I used to cram the melody. And sometimes I'd Skype class. Imagine, I'd Skype class and come and play. Not on there's a keyboard and there was a piano. So of course I couldn't play a piano during class time, but then the keyboard you could turn the volume down. And so in like 6-7 months I was playing as good as the girls who I was begging them.
And that was you in first year, in Form 1?
I was in Form 1 at the time, and my love for music grew. I picked up piano, I picked up guitar. After high school I tried drums. It wasn't really my thing.
But drums is sexy. When you find like a female who's doing drums, I'm like, oh.
Drums is fine. It's fine. But then it gets more complicated as you advance.
Okay.
And because I was also trying to advance on my piano skills and guitar skills, I felt like it was too much. So I kind of just put it on the side. And immediately after high school, actually, what happened, just before tufanye KCSE, we had the last weekend challenge, and I remember there was there were DJs who came. Usually they come like the last 2 days of weekend challenge, and this time they brought a female DJ. Among the like 3 DJs, there was a female DJ, and she was such a badass, man. She was. I had never seen a female DJ till that point, and I didn't even know that was possible because all I had seen was male DJs. So immediately after weekend challenge, I talked to her, asked her if she could teach me. She said she didn't teach, but she can refer me to someone. And she gave me a number, and immediately after high school, I actually followed up. That's how I did DJ classes.
Nice.
Yeah, that's how I did DJ classes.
Are they expensive, by the way?
Then it wasn't. It was around 15,000. Yes, 15 for all the 3 months, and on top of it they used to take you for practicals.
Oh, nice.
I mean, you can't just like be rehearsing here and you haven't interacted with the crowd before, so there was also that.
So what was your first club ever?
Funny story, then when I was finishing high school, I still am a believer in Christ, but then I only gospel music. And one thing my teacher had a difficulty with, my teacher had a very big hard time with me because he did clubs, like that was his thing. So I was like, okay, so how am I going to take you out for practicals? And I was like, no, I can't do clubs, I can't be seen in a club. I was very active in praise and worship. I wasn't trying to do clubs. Siku moja akanishika, alipata gig ya church, and it was back then when like the gospel scene ndo ilikuwa kusema in the industry. What are you saying? Kina Jimmy Gate, kina Billy Paul, like it was such Kelele TV. And those are the exact guys who came for the concert, because the church was having a concert in the afternoon.
2 p.m.
Yeah, 2 p.m. to like 7 p.m. And they were bringing the hottest artists in the scene. So I was like, definitely I'm game. I'm coming. And my teacher threw me kind of under the bus. It was like learning the hard way, because when nimepatiwa chance ya kucheza, haikuwa kucheza, I was just supposed to play for the artist who was supposed to come next, and I didn't know who it was until nimefika. So when the MC is introducing the next artist, nasikia kelele takatifu, sema pia mimi ni fan, sema I'm also starstruck. I forgot I was the DJ at the moment, and they had just released a new song. I can't remember what it was at the time, but I had not heard of it because it was a new song that released, I think, that week. And
you carried yourself away.
They were like, DJ, and then they said the song, right? And me, I wasn't there at all, because in that moment I was a fan, right? And they're like, DJ Dada. And they were like, normally I usually say in every artistic field, I feel like the audience is never patient with DJs.
That is true.
Yeah, like for poets, if you forget your lines, guys are like, oh, snap, 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 snap. For musicians, they'd be like, woo, DJ. Shout your name, but DJ, you're going to be, you get cast out like a nonsense, even if it's in church. And so that's what happened. And I think my teacher noticed, wimbo, you think alicheza? Kaniacha bado, alieka like you load the song in the decks, what you use, And then my work was to press play. But then because I felt like I fell short in the beginning, I was trying to show these people, okay, let me like
scratch
come back.
Exactly. Hey, I know. a scratch.
I was like, let me do like a nice scratch and then, start the song. But I kind of over scratched and then now the booing started again.
Oh, what a humble beginning,
And imagine after that I quit DJing. Yeah, because in my head I was telling myself, I must really suck for an audience to boo me twice. I must really suck. So this is not my forte. Let me just like leave it.
Okay.
And my child was very angry at me because he said I was very talented. Like, this is a thing I could actually do. Those things happen to the best of everyone in uni, but I didn't want to hear it. And then my calling letter for uni came. I was like, let me just concentrate on school. And then I found poetry in that.
So where did you find poetry in uni or before uni?
It was in
because
uni.
you're so many things. So I wanted to know what started where, because I know a disc jockey was brought about, a producer was brought about by a DJ, that's for sure. But now there are these others like author, poets. How did you incorporate all that? Because that's a lot for one person, honestly.
That's
I wonder how you walk every day. That's a lot.
It is a lot.
Yeah,
and,
it is.
I think it's just how I am. I express myself better through art. And I feel like different forms of art cannot fully encompass me as a person. Like, I can't say poetry completely explains who I am, or DJing or production. Like, it can only express a side of me. But poetry was the art form that I think I really pursued the longest, and I really committed to it the longest.
So this was in campus?
This was in campus, yeah.
So, okay. So let's hold Kiasi from campus. But I just also wanted to know, the urge of you wanting to do art or being so artistic, is it family born? Because there's so many poets who'll tell you, I started writing poetry because my mom was a poet, or I started writing because I felt my environment or my external environment was not letting me expose myself. So how is your art attributed? How would you explain your art? Is it inborn? Okay, I know you're born on the seventh day of the creation, but other than that, so what is the influence? What influences your art, in short?
Life, everything around me, how I perceive things. But with poetry specifically, I used it to process things that I was having a hard time processing.
Okay.
Like sometimes you can talk to yourself and that's not enough. So I found myself writing a lot. In that moment when I was discovering poetry, I wasn't in a good place mentally. And so I'd find myself ranting on paper a lot. And so one time I wrote something, I felt like, it's actually nice to read. I sent it to like two of my friends who were like, this is actually nice. One of them sent me videos of a spoken word artist, and that was the first time I'd ever heard of a spoken word artist. It was Def Jam poetry videos, and they were amazing.
So this is okay. So you started your poetry. You started your poetry in campus now.
Yeah.
You'd already forgotten how to DJ, and you liacha.
Yeah, I was like, it was deuces.
All right, okay. So tell me about your poetry journey in campus.
Yeah, I feel like it started more, I was in campus at the time, but it started more when I was in church. Because again, like I was still but like actively in different departments like praise and worship and the drama team. And so like the drama team especially, like I had a lot of friends who had different artistic gifts. And so those are the people who had shared the piece that I had written. And they're like, this is really nice. One of them is one who sent me some spoken word videos. And when I saw 3 of them, I think I just like challenges. I like something that can excite me. Like, Ilea, I think I can do this. And when I saw those videos, I was like, I can do this, and I think I can be really good. And I just started writing really good. I'm not saying I started out the best, but I started out really good. And I started out in church. I used to do presentations in church. And
You're such a church girl.
I know.
You're so blessed.
Thank you.
Your art started in a blessed place. So it has to be maybe that's why you're all this, Okay.
And then I went to do a presentation in a neighboring church. When I went there, because I also had friends there, one of them was like, Yani, Shikkiey, you do spoken word and you've never told me before. And I was asking this guy, I didn't even know you do spoken word. Like I knew him as a photographer. He was like, no, I do poetry. And then he introduced me to the poetic scene, like the actual poetry scene. And he's kind of mentoring again. I don't know. My mentors have never like held my hand and be like, oh, this is what you do. No.
We never learned that
No,
way.
no.
Thank
He gave me
God.
my first gig and was like, you see these people, network, call them. He sent me numbers. It's like, these people, call them. Tell them you want a gig at Akamani, like, what is it called? Platform, Amanini, like, these are the people you should call. Left. And that was it. Like, it was me to figure it out.
And I don't know why mentors do that. I don't know if when I become a mentor, but I think I'll do that. they make you learn the hard way.
Yeah.
You know, when I got a mentor, I told her I wanted to do this, and she was like, okay, you want to do this. So this is what you should do. I'm like, so just do for me one. Like she's like, no, we don't learn like that. But I think that's why you were able to turn out, because you're able to get so many different experiences that maybe if she would have done it or he would have done it for you, maybe you would have not gotten it. So also say mentorship is very important. And I can tell your art is based on mentorship. That's why I see wewe wanguke. It's not easy. It's not hard.
No.
Yeah, because of that mentorship.
Yeah.
But anyway, so you started DJing, ukagonga mwamba. Ukaingia poetry started working out well for you.
Yeah.
So what time did you actually realize that, oh my God, I'm gonna do poetry full time?
I participated in a competition called Slam Africa and I won. And it was the first time I had participated in that competition.
You won the first time.
I won in fact, I was supposed to lose.
Siku ya saba.
This is actually another funny, I think I have a lot of funny stories. I was supposed to lose because, so Slam, they do this. They have 3 rounds. They have, I guess, 9 to 12 poets in the beginning, and then they remove a couple of poets per round. Pole. So in the first round, they were removing, I think, if I'm not wrong, 2 or 3 poets, because they give you marks. So if you fika a certain mark, na ujafika, like the threshold, unatolewa. And when they removed the 2 poets, if they were to remove 3, I would have been the 3rd one.
Okay.
Yeah, because I was like 3rd last. I was just the one before.
Almost.
Yeah. And going into the 2nd round, I was very angry. I think ego too. And I was like, how do I come? How am I almost kutolewa in the 1st round? Like, it didn't even make sense to me. And nilienda nikafanya piece ingine, like, na my feelings nini. I was like, I don't even want your snaps and claps. No, I'm good. And the audience really loved that shit. And like me, I was saying it from like place ya uchungu, because I knew after this round I'm gone. So let me just know. Deuces, like, I really don't care about your snaps, your claps, I
get it.
And I became number 1 in that round, and I didn't expect it because that was my best piece. And now I was going to continue into the 3rd round. I was like, okay. Did another piece in the 3rd round. I was also the best in that round, and so cumulatively,
you won.
I won.
What was the prize?
The prize was a cash money prize. I can't remember how much it was. And the title.
The title was amazing. The
title is actually what everyone goes for because it gives you street cred.
So how many titles do you have so far?
Just that.
Yeah. Okay. So after the break, I want you to tell us more about now how you incorporate all that art, and then how you incorporate it in form of activism. But before that, I know you can sing, right?
Oh, don't make me sing.
Let's sing, man. It's terrible. All right. So give me something. Maybe Alicia Keys chorus, or I wish we had a piano. Honestly, you would have really played that piano. But just give us something before we go on a break, as we wait to be bamboozled by whatever you're doing in form of art.
This is one of my oldest pieces, which I love a lot. It's called You Woman. And it goes like this. If you, woman, cannot cook, then you are not a woman. No man will stay with you. You, woman, cannot keep a man in your pocket. If you, woman, shook loose your curvaceous figure, then your man is entitled to look at other options and weigh those options. It is allowed. You, woman, brought it upon yourself. You should have maintained your figure. If you, woman, speak back to your man, then you are a woman trying to be a man when there's already a man in the house. So shh, no questions allowed. You do not wear the pants in that relationship. Know your place, woman. Know that you will always be an object, a person not entitled to property because objects cannot own. Cannot even own your last name, for it is given to you by your spouse. One of the achievements as women are to look forward to. Like our parents didn't give us names. Didn't give us titles that we can be referred to. Cannot even own your kids because they ain't your kids. Apparently, watoto ni wababa, so you just become the life giver. A womb that houses generations that cannot be traced back to you. Your name not worthy to be recognized on the family tree, so you become the roots. You do all the work and then later realize that no one will ever praise the beauty of a tree by its roots. And just because dowry was given for me doesn't give you the right to mistake appreciation for purchase because you do not own me. You will not reduce me to an object again, that bitch from downtown, that side chick you want to get your freak on, that classic vixen from your music videos. So understand this, that this is a fight for respect. Clap your hands and dance around this altar of rage, whether you're about to be burned. Understand that this is Wangari Maathai on heat. Understand that you stand in the street of democracy with the rage of Afghanistan. Understand that I come to you with the heart of a priest, but with the fierceness of a gangster. Understand that the untamed spirit of Nelson Mandela, the vision of Martin Luther King, and the wisdom of Mahatma Gandhi just got birthed in my voice. And if you do not understand anything, understand that I don't need a man to tell me where or where not to be. I know exactly where my place is. Shikkiey.
Welcome back again to Dada Next Door. I'm your host, Nina McKenna, and I've been chilling here with DJ Shikkiey. I know most of you have seen her in so many places, but you know what? Today she's here with us. And there's a piece she's given us. And I just want to ask you this, Shikkiey. That piece is very powerful. Is it coming from an experience? Why is it coming from? Because I feel that piece was and when you started incorporating your art with now activism, how did you know that your niche is actually women empowerment?
It stems from my mom and what she had gone through when they were separating with dad. It felt a bit unfair on her end because I feel like she bore a bigger burden. The shame
because of the society.
The cost. Yeah. Then was different with now. When it was happening, and there was a lot that went by that I felt very angry about, sad about, and I noticed the double standards very early on. By the time I was able to understand what that was, I was like, okay, patriarchy. And I was like, you can now put words to what exactly was happening. But then I didn't have those words to ascribe to what was happening. And it was very easy and natural for me to talk about women empowerment because I think I was talking to myself.
So, okay.
One of my biggest fears now I think I don't feel the same way, but then one of my biggest fears was what happened to my mom to happen to me. I felt like she was very hopeless in that situation. She was alone. She kind of went through it alone. And
shout out to your mom. They go through so much, especially single parents.
Yeah,
I think
it was so sad and painful for her. And I guess, as a child, you see these things. You notice one. You put 2 and 4 together, even if like they try to hide it from you. You notice some things. So that's where that came from.
And do you think when you're talking about it, do you think it has impacted maybe one woman or another. I could actually tell you one, and I think you have a very powerful force in women. Because when you check your videos when you're playing, you're surrounded by women. At the back of my mind, I was like, it should be the other way around. I mean, you should be surrounded by the other, and unlike attract. But I can tell you have a very powerful force with women, and I think you're doing an amazing job. But at what point do you realize that I have an impact? You can be doing something for a very long time, but not feel seen impact. But how do you know you haven't? You're actually impacting the female side.
I'm a girl's girl. I'm always going to be pro any person who's trying to build themselves and advance themselves. And if anyone was to need my help, guidance, or advice, I'm definitely like very willing and able to do that. I don't believe in gatekeeping. I don't believe in the few. Like, I really think gatekeeping is very boring. Like, if you're at the top alone, it's so boring. Who is there to challenge you, to give you like a different perspective on what you're trying to do? So it's something that I promised myself that if I was to ever reach a certain place where I'm able to give back, I'm definitely going to give back.
Actually, when I was growing up, I was so close to my granddad. Now that's the opposite. I was so close to the other gender. So I remember he gave me a technique and he told me when you're actually like raising a ladder, there's a reason why a ladder has steps. So the more you rise, always make sure that the ladder that is chini yako, it's strong. It's strong. So that if you fall, you don't fall too hard to the ground. You'll just fall one step behind. So I think what you're saying really makes a lot of sense. And other than that, so we've known where your DJing came from. We've known where your poetry came from. So what are others? This producer thing, and I think producers are the coolest people I've ever met. I mean, how do you just sit down and realize that if I do a certain melody or I do a certain beat, somebody's gonna dance like this? I think producers are really cool. So where did that production, the production phase start? And also tell us also where your author stage started.
Okay, so I'll start with the author because the book came before the production journey. It came in 2021 and I went to learn production last year, 2022. So in 2020 the book is called How to Grieve a Heartbreak. Every single time I tell people the name of the book, they think I was grieving a lover or like it was like a romantic relationship. I was grieving a friend, a best friend. We weren't at good terms at that point. It was bad. The silent kind of fighting, I believe, is...
Tell me about it. Tell me about it. I know.
To be honest, I would rather we fight to tupiane maneno and then we figure out a way past that, because tumetoa all our feelings. We've put it on the table, rather than I'm angry at you, you're angry at me. It's silent treatment. No one is talking to the other one. No one is willing to talk to the other one. But because we are expressing ourselves to other people, like our friends, they're being our support system, and these friends are friends, sometimes the information that comes back to you, even though it might be accurate, might have missed context.
That is true.
So I'm not saying that our friends were telling us things that weren't true. They were true, but because we didn't know the context of what they were being, how it came about, like the statements that come back to you, how it came about, there was a lot of assumptions. And because of a lot of assumptions, we fell out even way harder than we were supposed to fall out. And this was a person who, live alone, the way you think about when you're in a relationship, a romantic one, you think, oh, this is the person I'm going to be with for the rest of my life and I'm going to have children. This best friend was like that person, like I was like, no matter what kind of relationship I go through, this is the one person I know, like, we are going to be together through thick and thin. We had planned to even like build houses next to each other. It was a whole thing. And so we didn't even get a chance to, if you're going to break up, basi to break up vizuri, tuongeleshane, tuambiane imeisha, we bless each other and we go our separate ways. We didn't even have that moment. And I felt like I had a lot of pent up issues, anger, resentment, bitterness, sadness.
And that's the time where you get the best content. I don't know how it works.
It was crazy because I was like, I really want this person. How do I talk to this person? How do I let them know?
So you wrote them a book.
I wrote them a whole
book. My God.
But that book wasn't like, it was angry. Like sometimes I read that book, I'm like, yeah, you are an angry person. Like it was so angry. But
You
that
have a copy? You should leave me a copy.
I'll send it to you personally.
Okay, fine.
It was so angry, it was so sad, it was so bitter, but it was genuinely, again, I was processing
that whole breakup.
That time. Yeah, poetry for me is just a thing what I use, or an art I use to process what I'm going through at the time. And then it was that breakup. And it took me, I think, 7-8 months writing it on my phone by day. Like I used to just have moments, I'm like, this is the night. And I used to write it by day at night, because I think when you're alone in bed, that's when it hits you the most. So
with your demons.
Yeah, with your demons and everything.
They're just staring and cheering you on.
Cheers, really. Typing it on my phone. And 7 months later, I had a book. And I was very determined to publish it, because my goal beyond like it being out there was, I hope that they read it one day and they know my side of the story. I felt like they didn't even know my side of the story.
So your book is basically from an emotional side.
Yeah.
However, I'm actually thinking a point of how were you able to incorporate now your author skills, and how are you able to incorporate that into activism? Because when you read some pieces, pia kidogo kidogo, you see that this is an activist. So how are you able to? You didn't even realize it.
No, even the piece that I've done right now, when I was writing it, it was a conversation I was overhearing from some two ladies who were talking about. They were gossiping another lady who apparently doesn't cook for their husband. And they the comments were saying were like, guy ati they order out, ama they only go out to eat, guy na si atamwacha, it was like,
it's just food.
It's just food.
It's just food,
guys, it's never that serious. And the guy who married this lady knew exactly what he was getting into.
Yeah,
and he was okay. I mean, if you're married to a person, you definitely know that they don't like cooking. So I thought they really represented what society expects of women, reducing them to certain roles. And I was so angry. I just like, actually, I wrote that piece in like 40 minutes. Yeah,
it's an amazing piece, and that's a very
it was a rant.
I think that's a 21st century piece, as in modern problems, modern solutions. I mean, you don't expect me just because I'm married I go fetch firewood, atakuwasha gas nafani ashiwe. But anyway, so and how did now you produce in beats?
Yeah,
how did it come by?
So during my poetry journey, I would try to go to different studios to record my poetry, but the producers I found were producers of music beats.
Okay,
maybe like, what's the difference? But like, and I know there are poets who lay their poetry on beats, and you can lay your poetry on beats, but it wasn't all the time that my poetry I wanted it on beat. I knew I wanted like some sort of music or ambience, something, but I didn't even have the words.
You didn't know what.
So when I'm trying to explain it to them, kuna issue, and then they're sending me beats, I'm like,
no,
how do I put, like I was like, no, I wanted it in a specific way, but I don't know how to explain it in like production term. At some point nilichoka, I stopped going to studios, and when an opportunity came to do production, because I saw the call out on Instagram, I was like, I'm definitely going to do this. I need to find a way how to record my own poetry, and start dishing out like content. I wanted to do videos or just like release audios. And that's how I found myself in Santuri to learn production. I did the beginner class. I did the intermediate class. Now, it's funny because when I was doing the beginners class, most of our teachers who taught us production were also DJs.
Nice.
Yeah, so after class, randomly ungepata tu mtu anatoa decks, anaweka. And it was just a chill session, and then because there were many DJs feel like in the class,
that's such an experience.
So that's how I came back into DJing, because I hadn't DJed for such a long time. I'm like, but see, I know how to use this thing. And then I tried it. I sucked with it the first time. I won't lie. I tried it. I was like, okay, not so good, but not so bad.
And you're a killer DJ. I've had some of your mixes, and I'm like, I
definitely am. It's something I genuinely enjoy. Poetry, I feel like, takes care of my sad side when I'm trying to process. But like, DJing takes care of my happy side. When I DJ, I'm genuinely happy. When I smile, I'm genuinely I'm genuinely having a good time.
Trust you me, when you smile, we smile. We are genuinely happy.
Genuinely, like it really brings up a light in me. And I think it's also because of my love of music. So it also touches that side of, I didn't pursue singing, but then this is like a way I pursued music in a different way. So yeah.
So you see, when I think about somebody who's like who's a DJ, and then when I think of a poet and I think of an author, I'm thinking these people, we have a genre of these people and they just do it commercially, not because they want to advocate something or because they want to like champion for something, but just because I can do it, I'm just gonna sing or I'm just gonna write poems. But what point did you realize that, you know what, I just don't want to just do it blankly. I want to advocate women. I want to talk about this. I mean, it's such a big platform because I think you have the hugest platform I've seen so far, because now I can imagine my parents can know who Shikkiey is because you're an author. My mom reads everything. So I'm so sure she's going to find you somewhere. You know me, my younger people, tunapatana, Fridays. You see, you have such an audience, but when did you realize that this audience is just not for profit, but I can use it to champion something? I want to know that.
Art is beyond other things, like my safe space. It's also my happy place, but it's also my healing place. And specifically with poetry, I healed through poetry. I healed with poetry so much so that when I was transitioning into DJing, it's very interesting saying this out loud. I don't think I've said it out loud, but I was sad.
Exclusive.
No, it's okay. It's okay. I was sad when I was getting into poetry. I was very sad. I was just a sad human being, honestly. I really don't know why I was so sad like that. And by the time I was transitioning into DJing, I was no longer sad anymore.
Okay.
And so writing for me became hard because how do I write happy pieces? How do I write pieces that don't elicit anger or sadness or like...
How do I express I'm just happy?
Poetry that is not necessarily, sometimes it's not only just writing activism, like you just write, sometimes you'll be championing for something, sometimes you're just expressing a certain emotion. But I knew how to express specific emotions. When it came to being happy or excitement or just doing anything that wasn't sad, I didn't know how to do that. And so music was what took up the next season of my life, because then I feel like it really shows where I'm at. I'm genuinely at a happy place. I'm settled. I'm at peace with myself, really, like genuinely in my heart. And after like a year was where I was able to get back and relearn how to write, not necessarily like sad pieces, but just write according to the season that I was in at the moment.
So how do you perform these arts in activism involved? How do you perform? Like I'm imagining if you're a DJ, you should come mic and say to all the women in the party, I'm just imagining. So how do you express all these arts all together? Do you incorporate them? Have you ever been in a situation where you DJ, you analyze your book, at the same time you do poetry in one setting, in one stage?
I've been at a situation where I performed poetry and I DJ'd in the same event, but I didn't I didn't DJ and do poetry at the same time. Everyone is trying to tell me, oh, why don't you DJ poetry? I'm like, guys,
people can do that.
I haven't seen it before. Maybe I haven't done my research well, but I haven't seen it before. But they keep on giving me the challenge of DJing poetry. I was like, I'll try it. I'll see. If it works, it works. If it doesn't,
but I think it can really work. You see, the fact that actually, I think it's a niche. The fact that you were saying that you used to go to studios because people are not getting the type of beats that a poet can use. Maybe that's your niche. Maybe that's the niche you should actually be looking for after.
I'll think about it. Only because my goal for doing production was to produce poetry. So I was like, yeah, it does make sense. And when DJing picked up, I felt like I needed to really concentrate on it as DJing before I add other elements to it. And right now I'm at a place where I feel like I want to reimagine it again, because sometimes when you're starting out, but I felt like I needed to concentrate on building this brand. And then when I feel settled and stable, I can now reimagine being a DJ by incorporating all these other things that I'm doing. Yeah.
You see, like us people who work from 8 to 7, to work from 8 to 5, because I think mine it's 8 to 8. So some of us who work from 8 to 5, there's a way we can be able to determine whatever we are doing because we have KPIs. Now, like you're juggling so many forms of arts. How do you get to know that this art is working for this art is okay? Apart from the guap, because I know she got plenty. But apart from the guap and all that, as in, how do you get to incorporate? As in, how do you know it's working? How do you know when I talk about this topic in terms of women in this maybe audience wanna shika what I'm saying? How do you measure yourself as an artist?
Most of the time, so when you put in something, you always expect a result. And specifically with poetry, and I also put like being an author under poetry because I wrote an anthology. Poetry and DJing, those are the two forms of art that got the best feedback. Like, people really received me with open arms as a poet and as a DJ. And so I find myself like in spaces where, and it's both with poetry and DJing, people who had seen me in different places are the ones who reached out to me and called me and referred me and spoke highly of me in, rooms that had opportunities. And I was like, okay, it's sometimes not even a person sometimes it's not even your friend.
Most of the times,
and
it's
those
not somebody you know.
those are the moments where I feel very honored, because I'm like, you don't owe me anything. You didn't owe me to say my name in that room, but you did. And it's because you saw something, then that means it must be something good. And so when I see that, I put more effort into it, because I see, you see what I'm seeing. So it's not, sometimes when you're an artist, sometimes it feels like it's in your head. Unaweza kuona ati chocha we ni mnoma and maybe it's really in your head,
so lazima.
A good part of that journey is you feel you're alone, but when someone affirms you in that way, it feels very good.
And do you think, okay, so do you think there is impact? I just want you to tell me, like, you know what, Nina, sometimes when I talk to people, I feel it. So is there impact?
There definitely is impact. Especially
do people like tell you later? Okay, for DJing, I know it's so cool, because that's mimi zangu those days, I'll go tell a DJ,
you're the guys we love, by the way. Because sometimes you're up there, you don't know if you're doing right or wrong. Sometimes people enjoy the music you've played, but they're sitting down. You're wondering, why are you enjoying down? But when someone comes and tells you that you did a good job, that they enjoyed your set, you feel like you did something worthwhile, and our business is the business of people. So if you haven't done our job right with the audience that is receiving, then what are you really doing? So that's like, it's really affirming for people to tell you that you're doing a good job, or that your piece has touched them in this way or that way. It has reminded them of something. It makes you feel like you are able to connect beyond your feelings and because writing is a very personal thing. Sharing music is like sharing your own playlist. It's also according to your taste. Yeah, some people won't like that kind of music you play. Some people will. So when someone shares that with you, it's a connection, and I like it.
And you like it too. Honestly, you guys should go listen to when
I live for it.
When maybe you're just chilling in your house, just listen to one of her musics, and then we call them mixes. Hey. Yes. So one of her mixes, and I was like, wow, this is a girl. There's a way not that we undermine women, but kuna vile we are so used to spaces kama DJ, it's a male DJ, but now a female DJ doing her thing. She's in mix 254, she's in trace. Hey, you're in trace. I was so impressed. I was like, anyway, before we wrap up, I want you to tell me something. If you were to, how do you see your art, and how do you see you yourself using your form of art in activism in maybe like the next 2 to 3 years? Where do you see yourself in form of art?
I want to be in spaces where I'm actively on the ground, impacting people. I felt like with poetry, I was so honored and blessed to be able to grow to the point where I find myself in rooms where people, like
The right rooms.
the right rooms talking about like how do you impact the community, Nini, like all these conversations happening. And while I really enjoyed being in those rooms, I had such a yearning to go back on the ground and really do something on the ground. Like as much as I talking the talk, I wanted to really like do something. And something my mom taught me something very valuable when we were growing up, because when we were growing up we didn't really have much. And my mom used to do this thing where even though we barely had for ourselves, when someone used to come and they were in more need than us, she'd give them everything that we had. And as a child, you don't understand. You really don't know. Like, why would you do that?
Alikula chapo yangu.
We also need help. But she taught me a valuable lesson that there's never at any one point where you can't say that you're not blessed enough to share. Hata kani chapo moja, kata nusu basi umpatie wewe ukule nusu. Like she always believed that you give if you are able to give, and you do that privately. In fact, when someone used to come to the house, tulikuwa tunatolewa kwa nyumba, tunaambiwa twende tukacheze, or we go into the bedroom. She didn't used to allow to hear those conversations, and she will never tell you what they talked about.
That's a typical African mom.
Yeah, she'd never tell you what they talked about. And so for me, growing up, I understood. I understood where that came from. I think as a grown-up, you resonate with a lot of things, and you realize why she did what she did. Because I'm imagining if the place we were at, if someone decided to help us and then, like take a phone and be like, guys, we brought them shopping. Look at the shop, guys. So click like, so we're going to go to the next one. It's so humiliating.
Yeah.
It really is. And just to give people the dignity.
So what's your best form of giving? What's your best form of giving?
I will say art, but I want it to go beyond art right now. I want to hopefully, and that this is a dream in the future, when I'm able to, I'd really like to do philanthropic work.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I'd really, really want to build actually an elderly home. It's one of my biggest dreams, to build an elderly home.
Nobody talks about our shows and all that, and it's very sad.
Did you see this? They
were beating shows.
Can you imagine?
I cried.
So
oh my
heartless.
God, somebody's gotta do something about this.
So heartless. And whenever also, I follow this page called Shikkiey, and sometimes
Shikkiey.
Yeah, please open up your purses, your wallets to Shikkiey. They really do a beautiful job. Sometimes they bring stories of both men and women who are elderly, and they really don't have a lot. And I think out of all the stories they do, those ones really touch my heart. So when I'm able to, when I'm blessed enough, I really want to help the elderly.
Yeah, I was raised by my grandma. So sometimes when I feel like somebody, it's let's not talk about it. Just gonna get emotional
and cry.
But I'd also tell anybody who's listening to this episode, there's so much you can do in a society.
Yeah.
You don't have to be a poet. You don't even have to be a DJ but there's that tiny thing like you can go fetch water for this old mama, that shows, or just basically sweep the compound. There's so many. In short, there's so many things you can actually do, and it just requires kitu kidogo, just a little bit of empathy. And that is DJ Shikkiey's story. And before I let her go, I also want to ask her one last question, just the last one. So September is normally a world month against suicide. This is a day where we try to celebrate about people to share more about their suicide story. And personally, me as a mental health advocate, what do you have to say about suicide?
I hope I don't get emotional while saying this. I'll say I relate because when you're in a dark place, you have very dark thoughts.
It's very dark.
Yeah, very, very dark thoughts. And I used to be one of those people who never believed. I think I was in such a dark place where I never believed there was light. And you would never convince me. I was such a negative. Oh my God, I was negative. I was bitter. I was angry with life, with God, with everything. And let me tell you, that bitterness ended after 10 years.
It's a long time.
It was a long time to be in that darkness. And looking back, because now, as I say, I'm in a different season. I'm in a season of peace, of joy, of genuine happiness. Even when you're going through to stresses of life, I'm not saying that my life is A-okay right now, but inside, I'm at peace. I'm joyful. I'm happy. I'm grateful. I feel blessed. And this is something I started feeling genuinely from last year. It's a bit sad to say it out loud, but it's true. And so, looking back, if I was able to hold on and push through with no hope in sight, you can hold on.
Just hold on, guys.
I promise you it's worth it. I promise you, when you feel the joy and the peace, you can't even replace it with money. I'm so sorry.
I can hug you right now. It's fine. Because I feel honestly, mental health, people don't really talk about. You see, like the way there is sanitization of malaria, sanitization of TB or anything, I feel mental health should also be sanitized. And imagine you made it out alive. You're a testimony. Because I've seen at a Leo, when I was checking my phone, I have download app ingine udaku, as in nipate tu udaku spot on. So one of the story I like, they were like a 7-year-old killed herself because the prefect was prefect alikuwa anafanya nini. So at the back of my, I don't know how to say it. I don't know the prefect. Sijui kama alikuwa anamwandika noisemaker or anything. Mm-hmm. So I just imagine this is a 7-year-old. This is also another 8-year-old or a 6-year-old listening to this story. So whatever you say, your tears are not in vain.
This actually tears of joy. It's not even tears of pain or sadness. It's because
we are happy, guys.
I'm so happy I got through that. And it's when I genuinely believed that you can really get through it. And fighting those voices in your head is the hardest thing, because sometimes they get so loud. But man, push through because you can overcome it. I promise you, when you genuinely feel genuine joy and happiness, it's healing. I don't know how to explain it. It really is.
We get it. We can tell you're a DJ, you're an author. You're so many things. You're a singer. We're gonna sing a song, but then mefikiria nyimbo moja lazima tuimbe. And I just want to say thank you so much for coming.
And thank you for having me. You made me cry. Like, I'm a G. I'm a G. I don't cry.
Fole, and I don't know what you're going through, you Dada next door, if you live just next to my door. I don't know what you're going through. I don't know how dark your life might be, but I just want to remind you that there are people like DJ Shikkiey. They're here to just encourage you, and they're actually a testimony that you should not succumb to mental health. There's so many things you can do. Maybe right now you feel that mambo imeisha, ama angalia aliachana na DJ uko mbele akakuja akapatana, then you're now a DJ. I mean, don't give up. That's the episode of today. Just don't give up. Keep pushing. Be positive. As negative as the world might be, as in there's always that track of positivity. And thank you so much. And keep doing you.
Thank you.
She's the only DJ nimeona when she mixes, there are girls everywhere. I've never seen that. Everybody's like, oh, and it's such a good feeling. And continue doing you.
Thank you. Amazing grace. How sweet thy sound that saved a wretch like me.
Oh.
I once was lost, but now I'm found. Was blind, but now I see.
Thank you so much, Shikkiey, for coming to the show, and thank you so much for listening. See you on the next episode. Bye.